Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, fighters out, so this is Battlefield 1. In today's weapon review, we're going to be taking a closer look at the M1917 Trench Carbine from the Turning Tides DLC, introduced of course for the Assault class. And as per usual for weapon reviews, we'll be looking at the unlock requirements of the weapon, the stats, the performance that it brings to the table, as well as of course how it compares to other available weaponry for the Assault class or other weapons that are used at its ideal engagement distance, and last of course, but certainly not least, how to get the most out of this weapon when using it on the battlefield. Starting off then with the unlock requirements. Dead easy to unlock this weapon. You're going to have to get 15 kills with any sidearm as well as 5 multi-kills, and I believe these two accomplishments, these two assignments, can actually be completed without actually doing it as Assault class. Correct me down below in the comments if I'm wrong, but basically you can get these multi-kills as Tanker, you can get these multi-kills as Medic, and they'll still count to unlocking this weapon. Once having unlocked this weapon then, what does it bring to the table? Well, it's a very much unique weapon for the Assault class, coming in with a maximum damage of 28, minimum damage of 15, netting you a 4-shot kill out to 22 meters, and from 35 meters onwards a 7-shot kill. Basically, it has the same damage progression as the Hellriegel, simply always requires one less bullet to down your target. To compensate for this better damage model, you've got a fire rate very low, 359 rounds per minute, and I should note here, this is not an automatic firing weapon. You're going to have to fire each and every bullet you want to put down range by clicking your mouse or pulling your trigger button, meaning that it can be tricky to actually achieve this maximum fire rate, and in close quarters, because of the low fire rate and because you have to aim every single shot individually, essentially, you're at a disadvantage over automatic weapons. Muzzle velocity on this weapon, typical for Assault class weaponry, relatively bad, 460 meters per second. Magazine, excellent, 41 bullets here to chew through an entire squad if you need to, when flanking them for example. Reload times also quite compelling here with a short reload of 2.1, long reload of 3.5 seconds. Not that you ever should actually end up with a long reload for this weapon. Recoil as well, relatively low given the low damage output of this weapon. This is typical with vertical of 0.3 and horizontal, that's to the left and right, of 0.12, as well as a first shot recoil multiplier of 1, meaning that this weapon actually doesn't have a first shot kick. Now this weapon doesn't just have low recoil, it also has low spread values with a base ADS typical at 0.21 for aiming down sight while not moving, aiming down sight while moving at 0.79, and hip fire of course very good given that this is a trench variant at 1.001. Where this weapon really shines is its low spread increase per shot at 0.07, as well as its first shot spread multiplier of 1, meaning that this weapon essentially increases its spread the same way a Medic SLR would, meaning it doesn't build up as much spread as say the Hellriegel or the Automatico would on its second shot or consecutive shots, as well as actually a very interesting first shot spread multiplier for hip firing at 0.167, meaning actually that the second shot you fire while hip firing with this weapon is essentially just as accurate as your first shot is. So this weapon, very much in hip firing, absolutely dead accurate, at least as accurate as hip firing weapons ever will essentially get. Leaving the stats then to one side, how does this weapon compare with essentially what it's going up at its ideal engagement distance? Well, given its damage model, this weapon either is a close quarter weapon, as all SMGs are, or it's a flexible assault weapon to be used at close quarters and medium range, trading off some of its close quarter potential in fire rate and damage output for better medium range potential. That's where this weapon essentially fits in, but it doesn't do so very well, because ultimately the weapons you're coming up against at any engagement distance you're using this weapon are going to always outdamage you. Let's look at some of the competition. The most used SMG in close quarters is obviously the Hellriegel. It's absolutely going to trash this weapon when it comes to time to kill, with a time to kill of 370 milliseconds versus the 500 milliseconds of the C96 Trench. On top of that, of course, the Hellriegel is automatic, meaning it's much easier to actually achieve that time to kill. Similar things apply to the support class, with the most used LMG being the BAR 1918 Storm, it once more thrashing the weapon when it comes to damage output. So somehow you're going to have to find a way to make this weapon work. Well, it essentially all comes down to its large magazine size. Now, it's not to say that for assault weapons, this weapon isn't flexible when it comes to medium range engagement. It most definitely is, but I would choose a Riberol over this weapon every single day of the week, because the Riberol won't let me down in close quarters. It'll still allow me to perform the role that the assault class essentially has to do, doing well in close quarters, and at medium range will still offer me the opportunity to take down targets, whereas this weapon gets me killed in a one-on-one every single time in close quarters, unless I am playing against a literal potato. So if you want to use this weapon successfully, you're going to have to shoot at enemies which are essentially not aware of your position, which means flanking around and taking care of basically 5-6 dudes at once with your very good magazine size. And to that, I would say that's absolutely possible with this weapon. That is likely the best way to play this weapon. The other tip would be to always hip fire in close quarters, because the hip fire is very good. However, my counter argument to this would be simply use the Hell Regal. Similar concept here, plenty of bullets to chew through a bunch of enemies when you flank. At the same time, however, great close quarter damage, so you don't actually lose every single one-on-one you come up against. And losing a one-on-one against a medic SLR, for a matter of fact, losing a one-on-one in close quarters against a pistol, such as the M1911, for a primary weapon that is supposed to be for close quarters and medium range, is just bad. The only weapon this thing doesn't lose to, I believe, in close quarters in the assault class is the SMG-0818. And that weapon is awful, to put it frankly. It's not a good weapon. And in addition to that, the SMG-0818 actually comes in an automatic firing mode, meaning likely that weapon is still better to use in close quarters than this one is. So if you're trying to find the saving grace with this weapon is, essentially just don't bother unlocking it. I can get kills with this weapon, so can you. It's not impossible to use, but it's basically playing with a handicap in every single engagement you can possibly fathom, other than actually flanking people and taking them out without them knowing that you're actually there. But you may as well do that with any of the LMGs or a Hell Regal, and you'd be doing so more effectively. Those at least are my experiences, my assessment of the M1917 Trench Carbine. Leave yours, as well as of course your usual video suggestions, down below in the comments, or hit me up with them on Twitter. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. But with all that being said, I'd like to thank you very much for watching, and hope to see you in the next Battlefield 1 video.